What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another special edition of Third and Longhorn. And by special edition, I mean we have our opening of SEC play coming up this week. So it's a big game. And we got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover. But before we get into that, I want to start by talking to Mr. Alex Okafor. First off, congratulating him on his induction into the Honor, man.
Big time.
Big dog.
Very,
Appreciate that.
Very well deserved, man. And I think we were all watching with pride on that one. Can you kind of take us through the day and break down what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, so it was like a 48-hour experience. So started up Friday night, had a ton of family come into town. They got a reception and a ceremony for the inductees, and it's about 10 total athletes, all different sports. We had 3 guys from football, me, Marquise, and Colt, and then 1 basketball, and then tennis, swimming, all that type of stuff. 10 total athletes. So we got a reception where some of the old inductees can come for the reception, just kind of mingle, do all that. Got to see old Mad Dog there. Yeah. He said he wants to come on the pod, so we got to get Mad Dog on the podcast.
Come on, Mad Dog.
So just got to mingle with some old buddies, old coaches, stuff like that. That was the reception. Then we transitioned into the ceremony, and that's when it kind of gets a little formal. They put us on stage, ask us a couple questions like, what did this university mean to us? Like, what do you think of this honor? Just stuff like that. Who was influential in your journey? Stuff like that. So we kind of got to tell our stories, answer some of these questions, and then, of course, got a trophy, a medal, and took some pictures. So that was night 1, and that was a lot right there. Then heading into night 2, that's when we get honored at the game, and it was at the end of the first quarter. And between the break, they brought us out to the field. First, they had us in the president's suite, brought us down to the field. Got to see Jadon Blue score that touchdown right in front of me. Felt like I was in the game. But brought us to the field at the end of the first quarter. They honored all 10 of us. Got a huge standing ovation. It was DKR at night, so y'all know the atmosphere was crazy. So they did it right, man. You know Texas is going to roll out the red carpet. Nobody does it like we do. But it was an incredible experience just because you see people you played with, you see people that came before you. And I kind of highlighted on this before. There's so much greatness that comes through Texas that you almost underestimate yourself to a certain extent. Like, you don't know if this could be possible for you because you've seen so many people do great things here. So whenever my name was called, I was humble. I didn't expect it, but I was grateful for it, and I'm thankful.
I love it. Yeah. You got to tell us what was in the presidential suite. I ain't got there yet. I'm trying to get there.
DJ, you want to take this over? You
in there every weekend.
DJ there every weekend.
DJ second home.
From crab to oysters. I mean, you living a good life up there. I mean, it's good. I like it.
I like living lavish.
So the presidential suite, like you said, they roll out the red carpet. You got all types of stuff: foods, buffets, drinks, all that type of stuff. You got the big hitters, the big wigs. This is where the fundraising happens in the presidential suite.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, congrats, man. I think we were all really proud and excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were also really proud that our very own Fozzy Whittaker was on the call for ESPN. You and Lowell Galindo held it down. I was saying it felt like a home experience, and I love it. But and not that y'all weren't impartial, but it was just cool. It felt like home hearing both of y'all's voices on there. And I know our text conversations were blown up with like Fozzy's killing it. He's doing such a good job. But talk about what that experience for you and what that was like.
Yeah, to begin with, I will say we didn't have a buffet. We didn't have
No crab?
no
man,
I was too
oysters.
busy. Yeah.
Was it high-end tequila or was it, well?
We didn't have anything. We had breakfast tacos. So.
Hey,
They did get Taco Deli.
Yep.
They were all gone at halftime, so I couldn't even get one. But it's all good. It was there prior to. But honestly, man, that feeling was surreal. I mentioned the storylines last week about being in my first year calling games and having the opportunity to cover the number 1 team in the nation. I'm not quite sure that has happened before with a lot of people, but it seems like it was a prestigious moment for me to take in, and then doing it at home, seeing my dog get inducted into the Hall of Honor, Marquise, Colt, all 3 teammates that I played with and have cheered for and rooted for. Talked to Colt as well. He said he want to get on.
Oh, there we go.
So he's all in during that time frame in the summer. He was saying it got really busy, so he's all in and excited to have him on the podcast at some point in time. But it was truly amazing with everything that surfaced around it. Obviously, Arch Manning's first career start, 56 years to the day.
That's so crazy.
Whenever his grandfather got his first start, Archie Manning. So seeing how the Mannings kind of have gone through the first family of football, as so they're called, and Arch being able to do his thing in his first start, I thought it was truly cool to cover that and be a part of the history and the legacy of what Texas is this year.
Fozzy, you man, you did well, man. You did well. Like I got confidence in you. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I was like, dang, like I had to keep reminding myself because I know your voice. I'm like, man, that's Fozzy. That's what's up, man. For real.
It's funny though because I hear people tell me a couple of times, they're like, whenever you're on TV and you're breaking down the play, like, I don't realize it's you. I know your voice,
Yeah,
but I don't realize it's you.
Yeah.
I kept forgetting I was listening.
Right,
to you.
it's like, oh man,
But I think that's the ultimate compliment, right? Is that
True.
nobody's sitting there like, oh man, Fozzy's doing this or doing that.
Right.
Instead, it's just like you're just blending in, and you guys, it was seamless. There was never this, these awkward moments or anything like that. You guys had a great chemistry, and I know Rod texted us too and was like, man, I just rewatched the game and you killed it. It's just cool.
And I want to say this too. We talk about Texas being RBU, whatever you want to call it, RBU, DBU.
Mm-hmm.
It might be media U. We start talking about. I'm telling you, bro. You start looking at these names that are coming out.
Man, it's a lot
Yeah.
in the broadcasting world. You're not wrong.
No, that's cool. Well, you guys are killing it. So, well, congrats, guys. We wanted to take a moment to celebrate you, but let's get to kind of the pre-game talk, and let's start with Derrick. I'm gonna kick it over to you. Just a quick recap, your thoughts on the Louisiana Monroe game last week.
Man, last week I was proud of the guys, offensively and defensively. Offensively, with Arch's debut, I think he did really good. I love, and maybe because I'm a football head, but I love that he didn't have a perfect game. That's okay to me. That's okay to get out there and say, oh, I can't do this, or you know what, I need to get the ball out, or I escaped from a sack. It's okay to run now. It's okay to not try to fit stuff in. But Arch threw the ball well down the field. I mean, we probably had the most downfield passes, deep balls, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's what you get from him. And you got a guy that can take risks and that's qualified to take those risks. And he's learning. He's a freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. And it wasn't a perfect game, but he made some great decisions in there. He bounced back. Coach didn't say, okay, he threw an interception. Let's just run the ball, guys. Let's calm it down. It's like, nope, back at it. Deep ball to Bond or whatnot, but and Wingo. But I was proud of the way how Arch handled his first start defensively. I love Anthony Hill. Man, we don't talk enough about Anthony Hill. Like he had his coming out party. I think he was on his way, but he's just let you know like he's the guy on the defense. He's the heart and soul of that defense. But to have Leonga the foul come in and make some plays and see how the team responds to a true second stringer that plays in the middle of the game whenever you can, whenever he can, and he's not. And Sark even said this, they're not counting their reps, right? They're making their reps count at the end of the day. Yeah. And Leonga is a great example of just stepping in and saying, being like, hey, I'm the next guy up. I'm a starter. Let me get this tackle for loss, which became a safety. And it was so cool to see how these guys are rallying around each other. And Sark has built this culture, and this culture is rolling right now. And it's a big deal. So this is not going to stop. This is something that's going to keep rolling.
To your point about the culture and the unselfish nature of the team, I was listening to Jay Blue give his kind of post-game speech about what he did and what he accomplished, right? 4 total touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing, had career highs across the board, right? He had a phenomenal game. But when it came down to it and they asked him about his performance, he talked about the other running backs that got in. So he talked about Jared Gibson. He talked about Reed Watkins. He talked about Colin Page and seeing them being able to put the work in and having the same success. And he actually mentioned it's like it's good to see they get the spotlight because they put in just as much work as he does, but don't necessarily get the recognition and the benefit that he's been able to get. And so hearing him say that about the guys that are behind him that he's playing with Same way, Leonga goes out there and makes those plays. Those guys rallying around him, man. That's part of the heart and soul of why this Texas team has so much depth.
Yeah, and when you get public recognition like that, that's what you do in private, right?
Exactly.
Like what you do in private, that comes out to the public, and that's all that's happening right now through the summer, through the weeks. Nobody's at practice like that, so the little things, being obsessed with the details of their assignments and everything, and just the way they go about their business. That's why on Saturdays everybody's talking about Texas, because of what they're doing in private.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and kind of I'm just going to piggyback off both of y'all's points. Y'all hit it right on the head. First, kind of going back to DJ's point about Arch, I loved, like, nobody wants to see an early turnover, but I love to see that because of the way he responded. It's not going to be perfect. And we don't want to be in a situation where everything has gone our way, we haven't been tested, and then we start seeing some adversity. So I look for adversity early, and that's what we saw with Arch. And literally after that turnover, 3 plays later, he throws a bomb. Throws a bomb, right? So that's what you love to see. He's ready, and if there was ever a situation where Quinn couldn't go long term, we are in good hands with Arch.
Sure. Yeah.
Transitioning to this defense, Anthony Hill has been the best linebacker in the country the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like you said, it was his coming out party this past weekend, but the week before that, he had an outstanding game. Seeing Leonga Lafau make plays as a backup, it shows you that this linebacker unit is firing on all units. We talked about Bender the first 3 games. Now we're talking about these two guys. Like, is this the strongest unit on the defense now? A conversation might need to be had. But that we have everything we need right now, and it's been fun to watch. Last point I'm going to say is it's a blessing. After 10 to 15 years of shaky Texas football, it's a blessing to get a team that you know they're going to come out to play. They're going to play to a standard every single weekend. We haven't gotten a team like this in a while. Even last year, as talented as that team was last year, we played down to the competition sometimes. So that speaks volumes about this team. Texas fans, man, sit back and enjoy this season. You don't get this. You see you see Ohio State, the Georgias, they've struggled a little bit. We haven't struggled at all. Like, we are blessed. We are in a great position. Enjoy this.
Amen. Well, I love it. Well, before we get too deep into the X's and O's and offense, defense today, I want to cover the topic. We'll move to first down, and then we'll preview Mississippi State after the commercial break. But I'm going to kick it to Fozzy first. The question that I think is on everyone's mind this week is, who starts at quarterback?
Ooh.
Yeah, and if you have to predict, and I want all y'all to predict your thoughts.
If I'm predicting, obviously, Quinn had the abdominal strain, was listed day-to-day, questionable. Still probably listed as day-to-day, but I think Quinn gets the start. I think with everything around the first SEC game for Texas, he wants to be a part of that history. And it may not make sense, but I think it's the best thing for him to do if he's completely healthy and ready to go. Get some reps in, obviously be on a shorter leash as far as staying out there. You know, you go up 2-3 scores, then you go ahead, take them, put Arch in. Arch gets some more valuable minutes. But I believe Quinn, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, or I guess before the fourth quarter started, you all saw Quinn get everybody hype. I don't know if y'all got to see that. Quinn was right there down in it, showing his passion, showing his leadership. But then he did a couple little dances. So
let you know
if your abdomen is hurting, you ain't doing some of the dance moves
deep
that
scouting
he was
there.
doing.
He's like, okay, that's
so he doing something a little bit more than probably what the injury would dictate he be able to do. So because of the passion and leadership that he expressed, and then seeing his movement, he didn't look like he was wincing. He definitely looked like he was chomping at the bit to get back on the field, though. I think that's going to afford him the opportunity to lead this team in the first SEC game in the history of Texas football.
Like, Oak, what do you think?
If Quinn is healthy, I think he starts.
Yep.
I don't think you hold him out for any precaution if he's fully healthy, just because Quinn gives us the best chance to win. We've seen that. Yep. He's played outstanding for a backup. But over the past 2 weeks, we've gotten some clarity within this QB situation. We know, and we have known, but it's been clear now that Quinn gives us the best chance to win, obviously. So when I say that, we don't want Quinn going into an Oklahoma game coming off a 2 to 3 weeks rest. Like, we need him in this game, resharp, get the dust off, get him back into his rhythm. so that we can go attack this SEC conference. And that's my train of thought.
All right, and DJ, before we go to break, what do you think?
I'm different from these guys. I keep our job. I keep them out there, and this I'm okay with having Quinn have more rest than usual, and he'll be ready to go for Oklahoma, and he'll be geared up and film watching and mentally ready for Oklahoma. That's me.
Okay, so hold on. I gotta ask DJ. You're okay with Quinn coming off a 3 weeks rest and playing OU as his first game?
I do, just because I trust Quinn.
Okay.
I trust Quinn, and I trust what Sark is going to do to get him ready. And don't get me wrong, it's different when you have to go actually be in the game. It's going to be different from practice. So even though he's throwing the ball a lot, when he goes to Oklahoma and the Red River rivalry, it's going to be live bullets flying at him. So it's going to be a little tougher, but he'll get the kinks out early, and we'll roll.
To be fair, he's also practicing against one of the best defenses in the country, so
Yes.
that helps get him prepared early on as well.
Yeah. And somebody made a great point when we were doing the post game of the last time Quinn came in cold to a game they beat OU 49-0. So
I don't want him to. I don't want to be scared.
That is very different.
I don't want to be scared this week. If he gets hit, and you're like,
Right.
That's a really good
and in
point.
a couple weeks he'll for sure can take a hit.
Yeah. All right, we're going to head to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we will be previewing the offensive and defensive side of the ball for the Mississippi State game. We're back on Third and Longhorn, and I am joined by, to my left, Derrick Johnson, to my right, Fozzy Whittaker, and Alex Okafor. I'm Nick Shuley, and we are previewing the Mississippi State game, the first ever SEC matchup for Texas, first ever SEC matchup in our home stadium. So let's get to it. We kind of broke it down a little bit. I'll give kind of a quick recap of this Mississippi State team. They've had a very disappointing year. They come into this game 1-3. They beat Eastern Kentucky, lost to Arizona State, lost to Toledo, and lost badly to Toledo, and then lost to Florida last week. Their quarterback Blake Shapen, who came over who transferred from Baylor, was having a pretty good year, and then got his shoulder hurt in the last game. He's out for the entire year, so this game will be, I believe, the first start for Michael Van Buren Jr., who is a true freshman who was playing, high school football this time last year. An interesting note on this when I was digging around is that his high school team in 2022 played against DeSoto and beat DeSoto. And DeSoto was, in 2022, I believe that would add Jonte and Trey. And,
motivation, any kind of motive, pull it out.
So he's familiar. So, and he was ranked number 58 in the ESPN 300. I mean, the kid can play. In the limited snaps he got in that Mississippi State, or in the last game against Florida, he looked pretty solid just coming in off the bench. But all that to be said, we got a 3:15 kick. The all-time series is tied 2-2. The last time they played, Ricky Williams went off, and that was in the Cotton Bowl. I think he was at 202 yards, around that. So let's get into Texas's offense versus Mississippi State's defense. And Fozzy, I'll kick it over to you, and you can kind of fill people in on Jeff Lebby, who we're pretty familiar with.
Yeah, so you look at Texas and what they've been so successful at, it's because they're able to do basically whatever they want. They're multiple, right? And what makes it so hard to defend is because the offensive line has done a phenomenal job with protecting Quinn or Arch, and then at the same time giving Jaden Blue, Jared Gibson all the running room that they need, and it keeps them on schedule. That's why they're sitting at 50% conversion rate on third down, which is top 10 in the country, is because they're able to stay on schedule. And whenever you're on schedule, the playbook is open. We saw it last week, even with Arch Manning in his first start. Deep shots are going to fly. You're going to see isolation routes where you're going to get one-on-one. And don't nobody in the country want to be one-on-one with Isaiah Bond or Matthew Golden or Ryan Wingo at this point in time, because those guys have shown they can be absolute difference maker. And Gunnar Helm, for that matter, I don't think he's received enough praise for what he's been able to accomplish so far. Mississippi State on defense, man, it's a lot of new faces. Jeff Lebby, first-year head coach, coming in from Oklahoma, having spent some time in the SEC with Ole Miss as well. It's a new team, new environment. They're building something that's going to take time to build. And we are seeing that growth process now as they're 1-3 in the season. and that loss to Toledo looks really, really bad. Toledo's a good team, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Maction been holding it down. You don't want to play Toledo. You don't want to play Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
You don't want to play Bowling Green right now.
There's a lot of people who attest to that.
Those three teams are holding it down for the MAC conference, and seeing the way that they went into Starkville and did what they did just goes to show you the caliber of play that the Maction is having. But at the same time, it goes to show you the work that Jeff Lebby has to do in order to get Mississippi State to a respectable level. And it's just so much turnover. I think it creates an opportunity where guys like Isaac Smith, who was the nation's leading tackler at the safety position for Mississippi State, does a great job, reads the ball well, defends well, but it's not enough talent on that side of the ball, nor is there enough chemistry in my perspective for them to be able to make a real impact within the SEC conference. And that's why they're kind of holding on to their hat. Each game is trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we do that? How do we get put into the position to be successful? And I think that's why this Texas offense should experience some good success against them. 38.5-point favorite. That's a big number.
That spread gets higher
First
and higher
SEC
each week.
game.
Especially for a conference
That is
game.
a huge number. And I don't know how I feel about that number. If I was a betting guy, I'd probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that goes to show you the respect level that Texas has already garnered across the nation. Yeah. And in Vegas, obviously, they're seeing it. And it's a tall task for Jeff Lebby's team to try to figure out what Sark's going to do offensively and then try to compete to be able to stop them with what their track record has shown these past 3 games, which they've lost all consecutively.
And they've struggled against the run, and I think that's likely going to continue. But for you guys, and I think you mentioned an interesting fact that I always heard that if your safety's leading your team in tackles, then you're in
it's
trouble.
something not going well.
It's not the guy you want making all the tackles.
Right.
So obviously they are susceptible to the run. So like for you, Oak, what do you want to see in this game from the offense versus their defense?
From the offense, I think it's just about us. I think we got to continue to clean up the small things.
Yeah.
Like we're playing at a high level right now, but the scary part about this team is there's still some meat on the bone left.
Oh, yeah.
Like even during Sark's presser yesterday, he said that after film session on Sunday, Jaden Blue came up to him after a 4-touchdown game, came up to him and said, I could have played better.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. Like, it's not big things. It's just small things. A penalty here and there, early penalty, a dropped pass, a missed assignment, maybe somebody misplaced within a gap. Like, small things. So this team can continue to still get better. And as long as we reach our standard each week or exceed it each week, that's got to be the goal offensively. Transition to defense, or you want to hold on to that?
Well, I want to give Derrick one
Yep,
second
yep.
on the what do you want to see on the offensive side of the ball, and then we'll
Just be us. It's I mean, this train is rolling, and it's going to be hard to stop. The expectation is the expectation. The standard is the standard, and the games we have like at home, we've been like this schedule is really good.
It sets up nice.
Is it right?
Like, I kind of
sets
feel
up
bad
nice.
a little bit.
I'm
I'm like, not feel bad, but it's like
We're just easing into that SEC.
survivor's remorse a little bit.
When you look at Oklahoma, their first SEC game is against Tennessee, which is a top 5 team in the country.
That's a tough opener.
Yeah.
And then you look at Mississippi State and where they're at. It's like, I'll take Mississippi State.
But again, that Texas offense is rolling right now, and it's exciting to see. Right, we got fast guys on the outside. We got big, strong linemen, and Blue is running his tail off. Even the backups are doing well. So this will continue to flourish, and it's exciting to see.
Let me also hit a little bit on what Oak was talking about and the nature and the culture that we hit on in First Down about this team, about how they've been able to still find ways to get better, right? They're not satisfied with 4-0. They're not satisfied with a 4-touchdown performance and hitting career highs. Like, Jaden Blue still finds ways to nitpick and say, okay, hey, I could have did this, which would have set up my lineman to, you know, be in position to block it. Maybe I hit the long run. And that's probably one knock on Steve Sarkisian's offense currently right now is we haven't seen the big explosive runs yet at high clips, right? We haven't seen the 40-yard,
Yeah,
50-yard
as much success as they
touchdown
as they have. Yeah,
that hasn't been there. And if anybody can do it, it's probably going to be Jaden Blue
Absolutely.
off the rip. But all those guys, including Jared Gibson, Baby Rhino, are capable of hitting that. But at the same time, that's something that Sark wanted to see. Last week, whenever we talked to him, he mentioned, like, hey, these running backs, I want to see them get going. So hearing that Jaden Blue still taking the time to find ways to improve his game, the O-line probably doing the same thing, defense, everybody is cleaning up, and then you start fresh again Tuesday, this is the heavy lifting of practice.
Yeah.
Like, this where you full pads, go get it, good on good, iron sharpening iron type of mentality, and that's what continuously makes this Texas team a beast to handle because of how they continue to get better week after week after proving that even if they're not playing at their best, they're one of the best teams, actually the best team.
And I love that because from the coaches and the players, they're obsessed with the details.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be obsessed
It's
with
the
the
same
details
message.
every week.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can keep it consistent like that, and this man, they're just, man, it's just so, man, and I don't want to jinx it, but it's not a jinx, right? We've been saying this. Texas is back. This is what they do, and this culture is rolling. Like, the country is on notice, and Sark is like, hey, guys, back to the basics. It's Tuesday. This is what we got to do. Boom, 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 and jumping into defensively what we have to do for to stop Mississippi State. You got a young quarterback coming in, right? And we've seen this before. When you have a young quarterback coming in, got to get the ball out quick, got to run the ball, right? We've seen this, right? This is what we've seen. So this is going to happen again. Maybe our edges don't get to the quarterback or don't sack him like we want to because the ball's coming out because they want to run the ball because they don't want to get crazy blown out again, just like Toledo did them. But we've seen this, and the defense knows how to stop this kind of offense that they're going to come in with. And they run. I want to give Mississippi State a little credit. Last week, they ran the ball well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over 200 yards. 3 runners had 5 yards a carry.
They have 3 guys. That
So
they
I
really
mean,
rely on.
they played tough, even though they got kind of handled a little bit. They tried to stay in the game a little bit. They had some key turnovers in the red zone or whatnot, but they can run the ball and they play hard. So they want to keep it as close as possible.
Yeah.
And everybody, they're not coming in the game thinking, we're going to lose. They want to win. They want to keep it close and see what happens in the fourth quarter or whatever. But, we have a plan, and usually our plan works because we're a little bit better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you had something you want to comment on the defense.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's going to be with Mississippi State. That's the game plan, and especially with them watching film on this Texas defense, like, first of all, let's talk about this Texas defense. Yeah. Like, hold on, man. Like,
this is the fun part of the conversation.
Like, come on, man. We got to – and I know the level of competition hasn't been there, but for them to stay as disciplined week in and week out as they've been is impressive. Like, they're playing at a high level, a high level. They're playing flat. They're playing fast. They're confident. They know the scheme. There's few errors. Like, we're playing physical. Like, you love to see this from the defense. But – Mississippi State's going to try to come in and run the ball, especially how they ran it last week, and watching film, seeing how we held up against Colorado State, seeing that big run last week. Who do we play last week?
UTSA.
Against UTSA. Like, they might not think that they could just run all over us, but if they had to pick an area to attack on this defense, I think the ground game is where they get us. Now, I think we combat that nicely. Like, I love what I've seen from this defensive line. Like, I don't think there's going to be anything there for them. And speaking of the defensive line, I know I'm going off on all different tangents.
The level of excitement.
Yeah, I'm excited about this defense.
Absolutely.
Like, speaking of the defensive line, like, we might not have the star power that we had last year, but each player on this D line is owning their role. Like, they're owning their role. Like, you got Barron Sorrell, the leader of this unit right here. You got a young guy in Colin Simmons who's slowly learning each week, but when he gets his opportunities, he's making them count. You got a guy like Vernon Broughton who's not starting, but when he comes in the game, you're going to get that instant pressure up the middle. Like, instant pressure up the middle. You got a high motor guy like Ethan Burke making splash plays. Like, Trey Moore playing the right way. I know the sacks haven't been there, but he's setting hard edges, playing the right way. Like, we don't have the star power, but each of these dudes are owning their role, and it creates a star defensive line. Like, it creates a high-caliber defensive line, and you love to see it.
I love how excited Oak gets on the defense. I'm glad we have defenders on here because I'm excited about the defense
it's legit.
too. But go ahead, Derrick.
I do want to, because last couple of years everybody's been talking about SEC, right? Oh, we got to get ready for the SEC, right? We got here. Well, we're ready for the SEC, and I want to give Sark some more credit by recruiting his tail off. The whole, UT by recruiting that tails off, because this SEC is kind of like NFL type of stuff, right? You got big guys up front, defensive linemen and offensive linemen, and big fast guys on the outside. That's what the SEC is. That's how the NFL is built as well. It's not, there are some colleges that are really good that you say, man, this is college, right? They're good, but it's college. When you go into the SEC, this is NFL type of stuff, right? It translates, right? You got big guys, big and athletic, and that's what we have. That's why we're able to pounce on certain teams, because we have an NFL type of roster, and that's what Sark has built. Obviously, seeing 10, 11 guys get drafted last year, this tells you that this is the quality, this is the standard, and man, this is a big man's game. And y'all have heard this, not to say anything about Fozzy being a smaller guy, but this is a big man's game.
But he took the time to call it out.
Perception.
Hold on.
Smaller than whose perception? What you mean, smaller guy?
Because you looked at me when I said it's a big man's game, and Oak know what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about me being a big man. I'm a big man.
You know what? You know what? If you're a smaller guy, you have that big man mentality, chip on your shoulder. But in general, football in a big scheme of things, big time football is a big man's game. You're big and athletic and fast. This is a big man's game, and those are the people who really win it all at the end of the day, and that's what we have.
Well, hold that thought up, because when we come back, I'm gonna let you finish. So we're gonna head to a commercial right now, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Third and Longhorn, and we are going to kick it right back over to Alex Okafor, who was so rudely interrupted by me. So let's continue to talk about the defense and the Mississippi State game for Texas coming up.
And just bringing it back to the D-line, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this dude. Shout out Big 9'5", Alfred Collins. We had him on this show. He's a friend of the show. Yep. We directly asked him. We said, fans have been waiting for you to take that next step over the past couple years. Do you feel like this is going to be it for you? And he had that quiet confidence about him. He didn't want to talk too much, but he's like, yeah, I'm putting in the work and it's going to happen. Yeah. Well, he's taking that next step. If you've watched the past 2 to 3 games, he's been one of the best players on this defense. There was a stop 2 weeks ago or last weekend where he got triple teamed, split the triple team, like 900 pounds of force on him, and still made the TFL. So shout out Big Alfred Collins, local boy from Bastrop. Keep doing your thing, big dog.
Yeah. Hey, to also kind of put a button on where this defense has gone, especially just in 1 year transition, right? We've seen this happen. Sark's first year, the defense was unacceptable, right? It was giving up points left and right, giving up yardage left and right. Then you saw a major improvement in year number 2. Then last year, it was a completely different story about what this team was, but the question mark was, can you defend the pass? Yep. And they ranked, mid-hundreds in the passing yards per game. And that was probably the big question mark coming into this year. You got to replace the 2 interior defensive tackles, and you got to find a way to stop the pass. And for them to accept the challenge the way that they have, this is now another game that they have not allowed the offense to produce a 100-yard passer. Like, this secondary has been on point. And it's on point whenever you got Javion Cole coming in at the end of the game. You pick off a flea flicker? Yeah. Bro, like, what? Yeah. Like,
they thought they had us too. They thought they had us.
This is 2 minutes left in the game.
First of all, they wrong for that.
They
wrong for that flea flicker.
They trying to get that touchdown.
That's what they get. That's what they get for that.
You got a little too greedy, trying to do too much, get that touchdown. And it goes to show you. But at that point in time in the game, there is no probably thought process that it's about to be a trick play or that they're going to pass it in this moment, because they haven't had success doing really anything. They couldn't run. 56 yards, I think, was rushing. 53 yards passing, somewhere around there. And to hear the way or hear the praise from the way the defense has improved from last year to this year, and I got to say the most improvement or the most dramatic improvement can be seen within the secondary. You got guys that's a year older, right? Malik Muhammad is a dog. Friend of the show.
Yep.
He
You don't
practices
hear his
like
name,
that,
man.
and that's a good thing.
I know,
right?
it's crazy. Like,
and that's
we
a
don't hear
good
from
thing.
him.
He's a legit shutdown corner.
No
Yeah.
question. Like, he does exactly what he needs to do. Makuba probably is the best offseason acquisition that Texas made, right? We were talking about Trey Moore having the biggest impact. I would arguably say Drew Makuba has probably had
On the
the
defensive side
biggest
of the ball,
impact on the defensive side of the ball, correct? I mean, Jahdae Barron sliding back out to corner, man. He's been freaking low-key.
Speak on that. Speak on
yeah,
that.
Best move.
Yeah, because that
Texas
helps
could've
everybody
made.
else
Oh
getting
my
other people in the
God.
game. Yeah, that's
And it's a
he's so
selfless
smart,
move.
bro.
A
Right.
selfless
He could have
move.
stayed
Yeah.
where he was at nickel.
Yeah.
And he's had to talk about that transition. We talked with him last week, and he mentioned how he has to play the run game a little different. As a nickel, he could fire right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
But as a corner, and he don't got no safety over the top help, he got to be a little bit more patient, taking it a little bit more slowly. And then Jalen Gilbo
That's what I was going to
being
say. Having
healthy.
Gilbo take that
Oh
next
my
step has
goodness.
been huge.
It's unreal. This secondary has made the dramatic improvement that a lot of people were expecting, and I want to give them their flowers while they're able to smell it, because they are producing at an all-time high level right now for this Texas team. 22 points, first 4 games,
That's
Unreal.
crazy.
giving up
Unreal.
22 points. This defense has been playing lights out, and they ain't been playing just nobodies at the end of the day. And even if they were, still 22 points is what it is. And so I'm proud of this defense, and I think the major improvement has come drastically on the back end with the secondary.
Well, I want to get to what you guys expect to happen, but I will say I have a feeling, and I don't know this for a fact, but I have a feeling PK wants this game really, really badly after what happened against Oklahoma last year. You know he's been looking forward to this and a chance to match up against Jeff Levy again, because Levy's team kind of torched us a little bit in the secondary last year, and PK's like, I got some guys.
I got something for you.
It's going to be
I
different.
got something
but
for you.
Derrick, what do you expect as far as the defensive side of the ball from Texas?
I think we're going to smother them. It'll be early and often. Again, this will be a game where you don't see a bunch of sacks, which I hate it for our guys. We on roster we have we can rush the passer.
rushes, right.
We really
We
got
got
the
pass rush.
and that will come. They come in bunches, as Oak know. They come in bunches, and we'll get down the road with that. But coming into this game with a freshman, as a true freshman at quarterback, this will be a vanilla game for them. They will try to run the ball as much as they can, try to not take too many risks down the field. But we don't have much on tape us down the field and deep throws. So maybe test us a little bit. I hope he does. That helps us out. It gets us better for down the road SEC play. But we're going to be. You got to really good teams find a way, find a motivation with anything, right? Yeah. Mississippi State not doing good this year, 1-3, and people are going to write them off already.
Yeah.
Texas, nope. Don't. I know Sark is going to keep them focused and saying, "Hey, this is SEC play. Everybody's been talking about SEC play. Let's make sure we stay the course and be persistent in everything that we're doing and keep this train rolling."
Yeah. What do you expect to see, Fozzy?
Yeah, it's very similar to what DJ mentioned. You got a new quarterback coming in. You're not going to see all the exotic, crazy type of plays that Blake Shapen probably would have given this offense. But I do expect maybe some trick plays that they'll throw out there. I mean, in order to manufacture offense, sometimes you got to be very creative, and we know how creative Jeff Levy can be. Is just stifled a little bit whenever you got to go to your true freshman guy as a starting quarterback. Running the rock, you talked about their 3 running backs earlier, had tremendous success against Florida. That's something that they're going to try to lean on. And that's the impetus of Jeff Levy's offense, right? He wants to run the ball to begin with, to get the run game established. Every time he's been an offensive coordinator, he's had 1,000-yard rushers in each of his offensive coordinator seasons. So that's his calling card. But whenever that breaks down, that's whenever you get to pin your ears back. You may not get the sacks, but pressuring and altering the throws is ultimately what the D-line is going to be able to do to affect the quarterback in the pocket, which ultimately, whenever that happens, you have errant throws, which can end up in interceptions or turnovers, which this Texas team has been really good at. They had 5 coming into this game. You see Javion Cole get one. You see Anthony Hill get one as well. So they got 7 picks in 4 games
Yeah.
right now, which is something that Texas hadn't really done in a long time. So seeing the way that they're able to create takeaways, they're able to pressure the quarterback, they're able to stop the run, at least in last game, that's a recipe for success and something that should continue to happen, especially at home here in Austin.
I do see Mississippi State during this week, because you're only as good as your last game, right? Last game they didn't win, but they ran the ball really well, and they said, "Hey guys, this is us.
We got to hang our
Let's
hat
do
on
this.
something."
Don't turn the ball over. Let's play safe or whatever, but let's run the ball. Let's do that." And Texas is saying the same thing, guys. This team, they're putting up that film. They 240 yards rushing last week. So regardless of smoke screen or not, or if you think they're good or not, if I'm PK and Johnny Nansen and I'm showing the defense, I'm looking at it and saying, hey, this is who they are. This is their last game, 240 yards rushing. We got to stop the run. Let's do that. Then we can have some fun.
Well, and something to watch in this game too is they put the ball on the ground 9 times. Like they have 9 fumbles. They've only lost 3, but they have a tendency. And trust me, if I saw that,
that's coming
I know
out
our guys
there.
saw that. So, Oak, what do you expect to see?
I'll make mine quick. Like they said, the only way that they can attack us is on the ground. I think we pinch it shut. So I think we put the ball in this freshman quarterback's hands. He's making his first start. Put it in his hands, make him beat us, and I think that's where it gets ugly. Yep. And I think that's got to be the game plan. We stop this run. No excuse for us not to stop this run if we want to be who we are in the SEC. So stop this run, put it in Michael Van Buren Jr.'s hands, and let's get these turnovers going.
All right, perfect. Well, let's head over to the most important part of the show. Let's talk about the special teams. And when I say special teams, I talk about Bert Auburn. And once again, this year is getting extremely frustrating for me. I am sick of not seeing Bert on the field. I'm kidding. Like it's awesome. Like
you see him on the extra points.
Exactly. Yeah, every once in a while, man. But it is pretty impressive. Like, and I mean, when I go through this stat line, the fact that Bert Auburn has only kicked 3 field goals at this point this year. Think about back to last year. I mean, he was. I think he was already in double digits by game 5, and so. I think it shows the progress that we've made on our ability to score in the red zone. And this, I mean, we don't even talk about the red zone this year. Like,
and that was the biggest
issue.
Where is the red zone anymore? Like, I don't even remember.
But we're also scoring from 20-30 out too.
Right. That's what I mean. It's extended. Yeah. So I think that's impressive. But the Mississippi State comes in with kicker Kyle Ferry. Kyle is 2 for 3 on field goals this year with a long of 32, 16 to 17 on extra points. He missed one. So when we go to Bert's side of the ball, he's 2 for 3 as well, long of 45, but he's 26 to 26 on extra points. So we're giving Bert the edge this week.
Let's go, baby.
And I hope, and I mean this respectfully, Bert, I love you, but I hope you don't get to kick this game as far as field goals go, and we just continue to put touchdowns on the board. So let's head to the game predictions for this week. And Oak, you're gonna get first prediction. What do you got?
I'm a defensive guy, so it hurts me to see these high-scoring games. I mean, I love it for our offense, but I say that to say my predictions have been off because I'm a defensive guy and we just score so much. So I'm finally giving in. I think we score close to 50 again. I'm going to say 48 to, let's call it 1 touchdown, 7. 48 to 7.
I'm very close. I got 45-10. I think they get a touchdown off. I think Texas scores 45 points.
Yeah, I'm going 52 to 13. That's my prediction.
45-10. I was right with Fives. Okay.
All right, man. Well, I think that's all I got for this week. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else before we head out?
No.
I will say we now officially have T-shirts available. We don't have them in hand yet. We will have them very soon. But we're doing or else we'd be wearing them. Right. We're doing a pre-order for the next couple weeks, and then we're switching. We're doing kind of limited edition drops on these things. So go check it out. You can find it at thirdandlonghorn.com. or any of our socials, etc. So please do that. Support this. Keep the lights on here for us. And if you like what you're hearing, obviously, please like, subscribe, follow us, comment, share it with your friends, tell everybody how great we are, and spread the word. And we'll also be back with a post-game show after the Mississippi State game. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and hook it.